Hello, my name's Anand and you're very welcome to today's video. This is another I Am or I Lack series video. And today we're going to look at I am a perfectionist. So before I dig into what I mean by that, sharing a case study and how they worked through this perfectionism, I'll just share a little bit about myself if you're new to this channel. My name's Anand and I'm an emotional wellness and embodiment coach, and I support those who are weighed down with inner struggles like perfectionism, a strong inner critic, or somebody who be struggling with anxiety or fear of trying things, or maybe lacking motivation. A whole load of inner struggles that can arise, and I support them to move through those and uncover their inner richness. So today I'm going to explore a bit about this belief or statement that says I am a perfectionist, and how that might impact you if you have this, and how you can reframe the thinking and behaviour from I'm a perfectionist to I'm enough and I do well enough. It's not that, you have to lower your standards so low that it goes against everything that you believe in. But neither do you have to put so much energy, time and effort into striving for this perfectionism that exhausts you, and that you are constantly living with this voice that says that's not good enough, you need to do harder, you need to try better, that you can never relax and just enjoy. Because with perfectionism comes this energy of intensity that's not fun, but intense seriousness. That's what I would say. Perfectionism can create intense seriousness, and in order to escape from this perfectionism, you often have to swing to the other end of the pendulum to get away from it. And that may manifest itself differently for you in different ways. For some people, it's escaping through TV or through Netflix, or going online, or shopping, or gambling, or in my case it was alcohol. I had this very strong perfectionism, and my only way of getting was to get absolutely pissed out of my head. Thankfully I'm 3 years sober, but I did have to tackle perfectionism. And so what I want to talk a little bit about is where I think it came from, this idea of have to be perfect. And for me, I believe it comes from religious teachings and conditioning, that God is perfect and made the world, is perfection and is in heaven and it's this perfect place. I do realise my background or my conditioning is coming from Catholicism in particularly. So I'm recognising I'm bypassing a whole load of other religions, but I don't know enough about them to talk about them. I can only share from my background. So yeah, it was, you had to try to be perfect to attain to heaven. And something that I had, which was really hard to live with, was in my head I had this long list of things that I had to do to be perfect, to be worthy in God's eyes. This is when I was a believer. I dropped it all long ago. But I had this long list, like the naughty and nice list. And I think for those of us who are perfect, who strive for perfectionism, have that. Did I meet the benchmark of perfectionism? Is my house so clean and tidy and perfect? Have I made the perfect meal? Have I given the perfect party? And what was the emotional, physical, mental, spiritual toil on you to achieve that? What price did you pay for that level of perfectionism? If the price is too high, maybe It's time to reframe I am a perfectionist to I do well enough. I am well enough. So this happened for a client that I worked with, and she has an incredibly high work ethic, works very, very hard, does a really good job, strives to do as well and as perfect as she can. And the challenge for her is that if she received feedback that was like saying to her, well, you could improve this or improve that, it had such a crushing effect on her that she became paralyzed and found that she couldn't do her job. And if she was in an environment where perhaps the other person was somewhat using their client's perfectionism against them for a different agenda, that became a real pain point for the client. That's when they came to me and they said, I have this relentless voice. It never shuts up. I always have to do my best. And I'm having a difficulty in my workplace. I'm being challenged on everything I do. And it was very difficult for them. And the thing is that they were given work that wasn't within their ability or their field. Their field was X. I don't want to say too much for confidentiality purposes, but let's say they did farming. They didn't do farming. Let's say their thing was farming, but they were expected to do mechanics. Now, okay, I know there are some farmers that may be able to do mechanics, but this person had never done mechanics. And they were asked to do this mechanical work that was very complex, very difficult, that would have needed years of training, but they were expected to do it, and not only do it well, they were expected to do it really well. So they were given something that was beyond their ability or beyond their training. So they were given an impossible benchmark. And the sad thing is, they tried. They used every effort. They read mechanical engineering books. They tried to learn, at the same time still doing their job as a farmer. So they were doing these two things, and it took an incredible physical, emotional and mental toil on them, to the point that they were almost at breaking point and very close to burnout. So when through coaching we took a step back and we looked at the evidence, we looked at, okay, so you were asked to do mechanical engineering, yet you're a farmer. Was that reasonable to ask you to do mechanical engineering? And when they took a step back and looked at that, they went, no. But I wanted to do such a good job. I want to be perfect. I want to have really good feedback. I said, sure. But if you're being asked something that's beyond your ability or your training, that you've been given an impossible task to overcome, this is where perfectionism, or I am a perfectionist, is getting in the way. So where they started to really reframe how they looked at this, they weren't a failure. They weren't performing poorly. And then they started to really see the picture, the reality as it is. Because I am a perfectionist will blur reality. It will go through what is facts and reality and railroad it and say you must achieve regardless of the cost. If you're a perfectionist, you know this pain point. So how did my client go from I have to achieve at any cost to, hey, I actually do a good job, and actually what they did was unreasonable, and I'm doing a good job. So what they started to see was start looking at the facts and see, was it realistic what they were expected to do. Then they recognized that they have very high standards and they want to keep those high standards, but not at the cost of their well-being and their and their life and for those around them. So it was about bringing a bit of balance, and that's what they did. They started to bring balance to their thoughts around I am a perfectionist, and started tapping into I do well enough. The other thing is, because perfectionism is very, very serious, they also saw that they needed to have more light moments, more playful moments. And for them, it was dancing, singing and dancing. So that's what they did. They would find the kind of music that made them lighter. And they also started listening to the internal messages in their body. So we played around with notes going off when something's wrong. You know, when their desire to be perfect was being manipulated or being used in ways that was impacting them. They noticed through the sort of embodiment coaching the notes going off in their body when something felt off. That was another thing that they learned. So if this is something that's resonating with you, do book a free 1 hour insight call with me, and we can explore this I am a perfectionist, and to perhaps reframe it into I'm enough. And just one little takeaway for you to maybe play around with this. If you struggle with perfectionism, make a list of how does it impact you in your mind, in your body, in your emotions, and in your inner being. What is the price that you're paying for the perfectionism? And what would you like to reframe that from? I'm a perfectionist to what? I am enough. I do good enough. I deserve to release the pressure. I deserve to be more playful. Let me know in the comment box. What would you like to reframe? I'm a perfectionist to what? Thank you, and I will see you next Monday for another I Lack video. Bye-bye.